Oh, Andrew speaking. I'm good. I got your email. Yeah, man, I got it and I have it up and already logged in. Yeah. How you doing? Mm-hmm. That's it. And people going crazy. People just crazy protesting. I'm like, seriously, your life over money? Mm-hmm. Yeah. As long as they ain't killing anybody. Mm. Right. Yeah, man. Mm-hmm.
Ten Commandment was handled on the stable of stone by Jah Almighty Moses. Some people wanna go for so much more. People that really learn about life more. Something is not to be ignored. Yes, I don't wanna be the one to tell you I'm gotta be, yeah. Living is the only way I really wanna see. Got to stay and not live and love. Be the one you gotta live and love. Before your breath is burned, you gotta live and love. Father, look what the world I come to every land. Big up to what is the Father place. Run for help, we don't know how we have to survive. Some way, some to help blood. Big up to this struggle. What negativity, I'm a love it. Look how we have them put them the body that listen to the body that listen. So they didn't get the blessing. When Jaja comes, then we who them have to run to one. The king that the whole world tremble. Run to the rock, but the man looks the rest. Give time the rock, I look somewhere we run to. Father, look what the world something in my heart said, this isn't love. Doesn't need to worry. Day and night to say that you love me. Don't you know that actions speak louder than words? I'm glad I'm innocent. What you want? Whatever you're doing, alright. Like Them want to see those type of moving. Moving on, easy now, no mention. Caressing when me sing. Earns the breath to these type of moving. Moving on, easy now, no mention. Watch this. When up front, every time, do second class thing. No one in the world I share them something. If you're up a rock star, and you put on the ring. Oh, you want to break the heart, hurt the feeling.
Hey, welcome, welcome. How you doing? Are you hearing me? Hello?
Liberty Mutual, take 96. Mutual. Cut. At Liberty Mutual. Cut.
Hi, Ray. Welcome, welcome. How are you? Ray, how are you? Ray, you hearing me? How are you?
Hi. Hi, can you hear me?
Yep. How is everything?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Not bad, keeping safe, you know?
Good, good.
Yeah, I think Gilbert is on the line. I just spoke to him and I'm just waiting for other people to come on.
Perfect.
Yeah. But the response has been good. You saw the email I sent you with all
Yes.
those comments. So I've been doing it from a social media perspective in that
That's
way.
great.
Because sometimes the old way too, it's good that you have also people calling, phone bank, but also people are on social and on the internet now because they're at home.
Right.
So, yeah. So I've been pushing it out because with all this COVID stuff happening, but we still have to get counted. How is the response rate? Look, for Randolph.
Randolph is actually ahead of the state, which is nice. So it's improved since the last time we spoke.
Oh, that's good. Although, you know, you saw the figures for the COVID is really bad, but
Yes, it's a high infection area for sure.
yeah.
Per capita, but luckily, you know, people are filling out their census, and you know, the town's doing a pretty good job of social distancing and wearing masks and stuff. So it's been going okay.
Good. I don't know, the internet been going so slow. Because I start to stream it live, but it's like I'm not seeing it picking up, but I know it's streaming, so welcome, welcome. Virtual conference. Who is that? Yeah, virtual conference. Who is on virtual conference?
That's me, that's Gilbert.
Oh, okay, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ray's on the line also.
Yeah.
I'm going to start in the next 5 minutes.
Okay.
This is the slide that I have up that you're seeing that I'm sharing.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Perfect.
I don't know what's going on with the internet been so whew. Just play some more music. In the next 5 minutes, we're gonna start, Gilbert.
Cool. It's a lot of people reach 1,400.
Just come to me and give you that sweet type of love. Sweet type of love. Come give me that sweet type of love. Hold me tight.
To all the people questioning right now.
Yeah.
Questioning, is now a good time for us to
You know what
invest?
I want to do? I'm gonna play that census video too. There's a video on it that I could play.
So City pumps the tunes.
Turn it up. If you want to dump, then you are. Oh gosh, oh gosh. Just give it to ya. I want give it to ya. I want give it to ya. I want give it to ya. Everybody drinking. Here's what they're thinking. Everybody singing. Oh, we don't have no behavior. Don't try disorder. Don't cross the border. Don't cross the border. I tell you, hurry up with the order. Boy, the world is getting over. Can't pay my secret powder. Everybody know the time we talk about the scriptures. That's the show. Fine, no, I'm full of. Fine, everybody just hang up the rebel start my scriptures. That's the show. Fine, no, I'm full of. Fine, everybody just hang up the rebel start my. No, they can't drink like we. None of them can't step like we. Can't have energy like we. Full of something after the white like we. Fight up for the time that we reach. Turn some look at the streets. We having a good time, We don't have no time for mad mind. Oh, we don't have no behavior. Total disorder. Don't cross the border. Don't cross the border. And end up hurry up with the order. Oh, we don't want to step over. Can't play my secret powder. Everybody know the time we touch the splitters. That's the show. Fine, no, I'm full. Fine, everybody just hang up the rebel start my dispensers. That's the show. Fine, no, I'm full. Fine, everybody just hang up the rebel start my. At Amazon.
Okay. I think we are going to definitely start shortly. Well, I want to welcome everyone to Census 2020 Zoom watch party. And I want to welcome all my Facebook viewers who are watching us live on Facebook. 2020 Census is here. You probably already have received your census application. We know some of you guys have already completed the census, and we are just following up on the 2020 census, guiding you on the response rate by your community, and also just to help those who have not completed the census, how important it is to complete the census and how to fill out the census form once again. Tell a friend, speak to your neighbor, making sure that they complete the census 2020. Very, very important. We know that we're in a stay-at-home order by the state of Massachusetts due to the COVID-19 pandemic. but this is the time now for you to complete this 2020 census. This census completion will really, really help. And we have on the line with us our census specialist, Raymond Bennett, and also Gilbert St. Jean Jr., who is from this U.S. Census Bureau, and they will be going over information on the importance of the census, the response rate by community. We're going to show you some of the response, coming out of the city of Boston, Randolph, Worcester, Brockton, those communities. So you see how your community is doing with regard to completing the census. Without the completion, in the next year, we'll lose lots of money, lots of money. So it's very important that you fill it out, it's not biased, it's for everyone. Anyone that is living, residing in the United States of America must complete the census. This is like enumeration, like back home in the islands. They want to keep to see how much the population is, how we can fund certain items so that they can take care of the basic needs of the community, which is knowing how much hospital, how many schools that will be needed. If the population is crowded, we don't want a crowded school. So by completing the census, you'll know how many people reside in that area. So they will consider additional school, additional hospitals, and so forth. I wanna welcome Raymond Bennett. Raymond, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. Thanks for having us again.
Yes, we're so glad to have you on this call, Census 2020, very, very important. And we're so happy that we have partnered with the Census Bureau, Authentic Caribbean Foundation, a nonprofit organization that is working for the interests of our community. And I'm going to hand over the floor to Raymond Bennett. But before I do that, I just want to welcome also Gilbert St. Jean. Gilbert, welcome.
Thank you, Andrew. And once again, as Raymond stated, thanks for having us back a month later, May 1st now, since it's been a month since we had Census Day for the United States. So let's talk some more to see where we're at, get an update.
Great. So we hand over the floor to Raymond. Raymond, you'll be using that slide that I have up, right?
Yes, that's right.
Excellent. So the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much. Again, my name is Ray Bennett. I'm a senior partnership specialist with the U.S. Census Bureau, and I'm here with my colleague Gilbert St. Jean. We're just going to do two things. One, we're going to talk to you about the basics of the census, really quick rundown of what you need to know about the census and how you can talk to members of your community about it so that they know the census is safe, easy, and important. And then Gilbert's going to walk us through the actual response rates for our areas. So I'll get started just by saying that the Census Bureau is the largest statistical agency in the US. We conduct over 130 surveys and programs throughout the decade, most critical of which is the decennial census, but we do over 130 surveys and programs throughout the decade. So the American Community Survey, which replaced the long form of the census, is probably one that you might be familiar with. The invention of that survey actually makes sure that the 2020 census is entirely short form. So the entire form itself should take about 10 minutes to fill out per person. So it's a really, but the American Community Survey asks a lot of in-depth questions, and in a 10-year period, we'll go to 1 in 6 households. So all this to say, we're constantly in the field. The next thing I want to talk to you about is survey awareness. You know, when we're talking about when we are talking about the 2020 census, we're always concerned about scams and people coming to your house that might have an illegitimate reason and purpose. We want to make sure you can identify a Census Bureau employee when it is safe for us to return to the field. Right now, we are not in the field. We're not going door to door. So that is a pretty good indicator that someone coming to your door is not legitimate. We will let you know when we resume operations. Right now, the tentative plan is to start some of our field operations in June, and the big push, the non-response follow-up push, to start in August. But that's still being hashed out, but that's the proposal right now. But all that to say, once people do start knocking on doors again, we want to make sure you can identify us. We'll have a census bag. We'll have an identification with us. We'll have, our names are actually in a searchable database online, so you can verify that the person reaching out to you is a legitimate Census Bureau employee. And anything that doesn't feel right, there's a number attached here that you can call and make sure that the person you're interacting with is a legitimate Census Bureau employee and it is a legitimate Census Bureau request. If you go to the next slide, our goal and the goal of any successful census is to count everybody once, only once, and in the right place. We're expecting to count a population of over 330 million people and over 140 million housing units. Our work is mandated by Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution that we count every person living in the United States where they live and sleep most of the time. We've conducted the census every 10 years since 1790, and it's all about representation in Congress and funding for our community. The three things that you need to know when you're talking to people about why they should fill out the census is that it's safe, it's easy, and it's important. And I'm just going to run through these real quick before I hand it over to Gilbert. It's important. It determines how many seats each state will get in the U.S. House of Representatives. It defines our congressional and state legislative districts, our school districts, voting precincts, determines how we allocate over $675 billion in federal funding. You can see here a list: Medicaid, SNAP, highway planning, Section 8, special education grants. Think also healthcare centers, health centers, funding for our first responders, police, fire, EMTs, paramedics in our community. These are all critical programs and critical funds that each community will get based off of how each state responds to the 2020 census. And not just each state, how each town and city responds to the census. So it's very important we get an accurate count and make sure every community gets the appropriate and legitimate amount of money. But it also provides insights for governments, business, and communities, groups to plan what they're going to do for the next decade. So this is a once-in-a-decade count. We're stuck with the number we get for the next 10 years, and we won't have a chance to do this again until 2030. So this is a great opportunity to give governments and business and nonprofits the best data we possibly can to make sure that they can make educated decisions about how to proceed in once we're all moving back to normal post-COVID-19. This survey also provides benchmarks for every other United States survey, including how we satisfy the unemployment rate, the housing survey, crime victimization surveys. All of this, the math behind it, are based off of the 2020 census. So if you go to the next slide, the census is safe. And this is a critical point. The Census Bureau will never share your information with any government agency or court. Your answers are protected by federal law. It's called Title 13 of US Code. And if we were to violate Title 13 as a Census Bureau employee, we'd be punished by up to 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. We take an oath of confidentiality when we start working for the Bureau. And that oath we're sworn to for life. So whether we work for the census for a month and then leave and go to another job, we are charged with keeping your private information safe for our life, even after we're done working for the Census Bureau. We will never share your information that would identify yourself, an individual, or a household with any government agency or court at the federal, state, or local level. Nothing you say in a census response can be held against you in any court or by any branch of government. So it's really important to know that the census is safe to respond to. You go to the next slide, you can see what the census actually looks like. And there's 4 ways to respond to the census. Right now, the most important thing you can do is fill it out online, by phone, or on paper. The paper forms should be at most households by now. They were a little bit delayed because of COVID-19, but April 30th should have been the last day that folks started receiving those mailers. So hopefully you have the paper form and you can fill it out and send it back if that's the way you choose to do it. But you can always go online and you can always call. We ask name, age, date of birth, race and origin, Hispanic origin, relationship to the person filling out the form, sex, tenure, whether you own or rent your home, operational questions like, is there somebody living here that doesn't usually live here on this form? Is there somebody that lives there that you did not put on this form? So an overcount and an undercount reminder.
Mm-hmm.
It's also important to note, we will never ask you for your social security number, for money or donations. We'll never ask for anything on behalf of a political party, and we'll never ask for your bank or credit card account numbers. So it's very easy to respond. And in this time when we're all socially distant, this is a way you can help your community without even having to leave your home. If you are quarantined with young children at home, we have a Statistics in Schools website that you can go to that has coloring books for, and worksheets for children in kindergarten and pre-K, all the way up to, senior high school level math and history questions. And it's something you might be able to do as a family, give out some of these projects throughout the day and then sit down as a family and complete the census and talk about why it's important and talk about how you're helping your community. So that's something to think about going forward. I want to talk real quick about language support. You can fill out the census online and by phone in 12 non-English languages, as well as English. Those languages are Spanish, Chinese, Vietnamese, Korean, Russian, Arabic, Tagalog, Polish, French, Haitian Creole, Portuguese, and Japanese. We also have phone numbers for each of these languages. So if you were to speak Haitian Creole, you call the number and you're speaking to somebody that is actually already speaking that language. You don't have to press 9 and wait on hold until you get somebody that speaks your language. You're speaking directly with them. Now, this program is a little bit impacted by COVID-19, but we're working on it. But basically, our call centers aren't, we need to maintain social distancing, so our call centers can't be staffed at the way that at the level they would prefer to be, but you can leave a message and get a call back from somebody on our team. So that's something to keep in mind. And then we have language support for 59 non-English languages total, with video and print support for how to fill out your census in English, but those guides are written in the language that you see here. I actually worked today with somebody that spoke Farsi, trying to get them able to have the information that they needed to fill out the census. And then once they got the language guide, they were able to complete their census in about 10 minutes, and it worked really, really well. So if you go to the next slide, actually we can skip a couple. Let's skip down. We are still hiring, so the 2020 Census Jobs website, we are still hiring. You can apply for a census job at 2020census.gov/jobs. Please understand that, again, we are we have halted field operations, so we're not going to be sending anybody door to door until it's deemed safe by local health authorities. The guess now is sometime in August for most folks, but we might resume operations as soon as June 13th. But it really may depend, and those are all proposals right now. Nothing is set in stone at the moment. But if you want a job, $27.50 an hour in Norfolk, Suffolk, Middlesex, and Essex counties, and then Plymouth County, I believe, is $22 to $25 an hour. So it's a good paying job once it's deemed safe for us to go back into the field. So something to consider applying for. We need to recruit about 54,000 people across the state. So we're going to continue to recruit and hire even during this crisis. If you want to scroll down to the next slide, just some toolkits. This is actually our big social media weekend. So any of you that want to listen, you can go find our toolkits here. And you can go to 2020census.gov as well and find other toolkits. But what we're hoping for is that you will all make a pledge, maybe challenge people to fill out the 2020 census online on social media. And it's going to be really important for us to get that message out however possible. Just use hashtag 2020 census, share your message, explain why you're filling it out, or just remind folks it's here, it's not too late to do it, it's safe, it's easy, and it's important to our communities, and it's something you can do without leaving your house. If we can skip down a couple more slides. I'm going to leave Rome to Gilbert. Gilbert's going to sort of do the updated version of Rome, which is our response rate. So Rome was our predictor for how tracks would do. And then the response rate viewer actually shows you exactly how, in real time, at 3 p.m. every day, how each community is responding to the census. The mail contact strategies viewer, most people will have received by this point the online invitation first. Some folks might have gotten that paper form initially, but not many. So this is just a way to sort of show all that purple. Those are all folks that receive the internet first option. Anything with green, they got that paper form initially, but all of Norfolk County at least is entirely self-response. I do want to mention, as I mentioned during every presentation, the data dissemination program. This is a team of census data experts that can help you and your organization write grants, apply for grant money, really do a number of different things that can help you prepare and grow your business or target your next mission in your nonprofit. Basically, they help you access key census data. They teach you how to tell your story through census data. It's a very effective training. They can do it by phone. They can do it through the web trainings, or they can do it in person once we're allowed to do that again. Again, it's social media weekend. Please connect with us on social media. Retweet anything you see from our accounts. We have a team that's been active on the Nextdoor app. So if you see us over there posting, please feel free to come say hi to us. And then finally, just some contact numbers for everybody. The partnership program is based out of, we're all based out of Massachusetts, but our leadership is in New York. So that's the main office number in New York. We serve the New York region, which is New York, New Jersey, New England, and Puerto Rico. And then you can see the Census Jobs website, as well as the data dissemination folks. So I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Hopefully by now, most of us have filled out the census. And I thank you for those that have done so. If you haven't, there's not too late. You can still do it online, by phone, or by mail. I will hand it over to Gilbert to talk about response rates.
Okay.
Great, 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 great. Gilbert, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Ray, for such a great explanation. Gilbert, are you seeing the other slide
Yes,
that I?
yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Okay, great. So let me know. We want to welcome Gilbert. He's going to be speaking to us about the response, 2020 census response rate, and how does it benefit your community. So Gilbert, you have the floor.
Thank you, Andrew. As my colleague Raymond mentioned earlier during the presentation, we have a response rate mapper, which is available online for the public to access. And with this tool, you will be able to see on a daily basis, it's updated at 3 p.m. every day, to be able to see what the response rate of your community is. From multiple perspectives. We'll start off at the national level, go down to the state, congressional district, census tracts, which are particularly at the neighborhood level of about 1,800 up to 8,000 people, depending on population density. So with that said, we started the self-count for the US Census 2020 back on March 12th. And with that, we are tracking to see what the self-response rate is of the United States on a daily basis. It's updated again. So with that, we are in the self-response period again, and we are looking to do the enumeration process in which you do the traditional door knockers at some point, either in the summer or early fall, depending on guidelines presented to us at the federal, state, and local level given COVID-19. So this self-response rate map, as you see indicated here, is an easy and interactive tool that allows communities to see how they are performing. So we can scroll down to the next slide, please. There you see there the different perspectives in which you can see what the self-response rates are for your community. We could look at the national level response rate, state, county, city or town, congressional district, and if interested, if relevant, tribal, and then again, census tracts, which depending on the population density could be down to your block. Next slide. So these are screenshots of what the general response rate mapper, how it looks. We will go to a live presentation eventually of how it looks like here in Massachusetts. So this was a screenshot for Massachusetts as of Census Day, April 1st, 2020. You see what the self-response rate in comparison with Massachusetts, which it continues till this today on May 1st, in which we're just ahead of the self-response rate.
Move down.
Yep, let's keep going.
Further
How
down.
about, let's do this. Let's go online.
Yep.
That'd be better.
So I'll go back up to the click.
Go back up, yep. Right. So click on the response rate map to see what it is live as of today. Let's scroll down. Okay. So these are the latest updated statistics as of yesterday, April 30th, 2020. You see what over half of the country now has already responded to the census, whether it be online, over the phone, and in some cases through paper, questionnaire. And now we're going to zoom into Massachusetts in particular. Again, Massachusetts still self-response rate is about 2 percentage points above the national response rate. So good job for us here in Mass, but nonetheless, there are nuances to the self-response rates when you go down to the state level. So let's look at, what would you prefer, Andrew, county or city?
City.
Let's go to city. The self-response rate at the city level across Massachusetts. Okay. Let's select the city in particular.
We're going to look at Boston.
We're going to look at Boston. So, according to our statistics here as of yesterday, Boston's self-response rate is below the overall state response rate. And so this is what I alluded to earlier when I mentioned the nuances within the state itself when it comes to self-response. So can you click on census track? It's underneath city. Okay. So you see the color-coded legend underneath towards the bottom there, self-response rate. So this is for Suffolk County in general. You're seeing that there's variation in self-response rates across census tracts. So we can look at this even down to even the zip code level. And you can see that those census tracts in blue, and we're talking, right? Do you want to type in a zip code?
Right.
You click on the search glass. Go to the left of the screen. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Type in a zip code. So Dorchester Center. Enter.
And this is it.
Right. So across the various census tracts that cover 0, 2, 1, 2, 4, you can see the variation in the self-response rates as a whole. With some in the blue, light blue to darker blue, have higher self-response rates, and those more towards your darker orange and lighter orange, their response rates are unfortunately much lower, not meeting at least the Massachusetts self-response rate of 57%. We're talking response rates of 35.3.
Comparing to the blue, which is a total of 64.5%.
Correct.
So communities of Boston, please tell your friends, let them know. Go online and respond. It's easy. Do it by the phone. Also by the phone.
Click on county for me. Okay. And let's zoom in Let's go back to Suffolk, because we know we're bordering with, in Suffolk County, it borders with Norfolk and also with Middlesex. So this is Suffolk County as a whole, Boston, right? And go to the left, let's see if you can get that option to zoom in or out. Okay, no, it's not doing that.
If you click on census tract again, it'll let you do that, Gilbert.
Yeah. Census tract. There we go. So we see what the Suffolk County response rate is. Let's look at Norfolk County, for instance, in comparison. Overall, and they have some of their census tracts are below the overall county response rate, but nonetheless, they are performing quite well when it comes to the overall self-response rate. So, Andrew, do you have any particular questions when it comes to all this?
Not really. Can we just highlight also the various? So let's give them Brockton, Randolph, just a quick view of your area.
Yep.
That is the response rate, so that you guys could see how your town, your city is doing, especially these areas where the Caribbean community is located.
Click on
So
city.
go ahead, Gilbert.
Click on city. Because Brockton is it's a part of Plymouth County.
Right.
So the Brockton self-response rate, in particular, you see in comparison to the overall Massachusetts self-response rate, you're seeing Brockton is below the overall average of the Massachusetts self-response rate, correct?
Right.
But now if you go to county, let's click on county and just look at Plymouth County as a whole. So Brockton's at 46.9%, right? Let's go to Plymouth County as a whole. Overall, Plymouth is registering at a self-response rate of just short of 60%. So there is a significant discrepancy between Brockton's self-response rate as a city/town and with the county that it's a part of as a whole. Numbers have to increase, obviously, right?
That's correct.
Any other examples? Do you want to go to, let's try out Worcester?
That is correct. Internet going very slow. Now we're looking at Worcester. Oh, we're not finding it.
Type it in, it should pop up. Okay, there we go.
There it is.
Again, similar numbers to what we saw in Boston, Suffolk County in comparison to the rest of the state, correct?
Yep.
Into the discrepancy of the self-response rate, whereas the state self-response rate is significantly much higher than the city/county response rate. In this case, we're looking at Worcester here.
Would you want me to do it by the county, or?
Yeah.
That's Worcester County.
Let's see if there's a difference between city and county.
There it is.
So overall, Worcester, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see the comparison with the self-response rate back in 2010, the last time we did a decennial census. significantly different, much higher as a county as a whole. Its response is higher than the actual city/town within this that we're highlighting.
And then we
So
can
this is
do
not to say that this is not unexpected.
right.
And this is why, along with self-response, we do the follow-up enumerations of the door knocking and whatnot, and why we reach out to you, our partners, to help us to leverage your networks to help us to make the communities that you serve be aware of the importance of filling out the decennial. And frankly, as also as a reminder too, with the comings and goings of people's lives. Ray, is there anything that you would like to add?
We want to look at Ray area, Randolph.
Ray, you there?
Hey, sorry. Yep, I'm here.
Anything to add?
So Randolph is actually really interesting. So Randolph as a whole is performing a little bit better than the state. But if you click on census tract, Andrew, you can see that you know, there are some tracts in Randolph that are even outperforming the county and even outperforming the state. But there's one tract in particular. Oh, we lost it. Can you go back to city?
Okay. That's it? That one?
Okay. So this northwest part of Randolph is the lowest responding tract in Randolph. It's actually under 50% still. But the rest of Randolph is performing either at or right around the state average or a little bit better. So on average, the response rate of 58.5 is really positive and really successful. And if you just hover over the blue there, Andrew, you can see what the response rate was in 2010. The self-response rate, 69.7. So we're approaching about where we were for self-response in 2010. And we'd love to beat it in 2020 and you know, far succeed it, not just here in Randolph, but across the Commonwealth. So this is a way for you to look at it, see if you know anybody in these neighborhoods, and reach out to your friends, reach out to your family, let them know, you know, why this is important to you, why this is important to the community. And again, this is something you can do to help your community without even leaving your house. It's never been easier to self-respond to a census. So we really encourage you to do that and help out your community from the comfort and safety of your home.
Excellent. So guys, let's go. Massachusetts strong. It's very easy. You're on the phone while you're looking at social media. It only takes not even 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes to complete it. My 2020 census.gov, or you could call the number also if you're not that social media savvy or technology savvy. Pick up the phone and call and complete it by phone.
Can you put up the numbers, the phone numbers again?
Yeah.
Slide that has the phone numbers probably on the other, yeah. If you go up, so up a few slides. Keep going, keep going.
I think this is
Keep
it.
going,
This
keep
one.
going, keep going, keep going. Keep going up, keep going up. There we go. Completing the census by phone.
So these are the various numbers and different languages. Please take note. If you're not that savvy on the social media or the internet, call the number 844-330-2020. And that's where you could complete the census by phone. Plus, there are several other languages available. So all my Haitian Passe, Sakofet, Mabole, it's there. You could Haitian Creole 844-477-2020. Spanish, all my Latinos, 844-468-2020. Very, very easy. Easy to remember, call, very easy to fill out, to respond to it by phone, under 10 minutes. Any other further comments, Gilbert?
Simply put, as a whole, and it's understandable given the stresses that the COVID-19 pandemic is putting on people's lives across the state. But nonetheless, in a number of our population centers that we just went over with the rate mapper, with the self-response rate mapper, we have a significant difference in which they are underperforming with the overall self-response rate of the rest of the state. And with that said, the state runs a risk because these numbers are more, roughly speaking, locked in for the next decade. That's the official numbers with the census count that will represent for Massachusetts. Not just at the political level, federal, state, and local, but also federal funding, which this COVID-19 pandemic highlights resources will be needed at multiple levels going forward in the future when it's all said and done. So listen, have no fear. It's safe, it's easy, it's important. You have your household be counted for the census 2020. We are the self count and also enumeration response, door knocking. All these operations are tentatively scheduled to run until October 31st of this year. Now, given that we do have some time, nonetheless, I would recommend that you do this count as quickly as possible for your household so that you can be counted. So get yourself enumerated for 2020 through 2030.
And also, guys, let's say you already have completed it. Please reach out to a neighbor. If you see, reach out to a friend, remind them, did you complete the census? Because we know a lot of you guys have completed the census, but can we reach out to others in your neighborhood while you're on the road? Did you complete the census? Let people know. It's very, very important, especially now we're in COVID-19. And we know that a lot of funding is needed for our hospital to be able to provide those services for our community. We definitely got to have people complete it. So if you all already have completed it, share with someone else, remind someone else, check on your family to make sure they have completed the census also, because we gotta be counted.
Andrew, can you open up another tab for us?
Yeah.
Type in 2020census.gov. It's simple. You just click on the green response button link. Takes you to this page. And again, if you go to the top of the page, right, you see where it says English. Click on that. If you're more comfortable doing it in any one of these other 12 languages you see listed there, you can click on any one of those links for the language that's appropriate for you and get it completed. So once you do that, you click on the Start Questionnaire button. You enter your 12-digit census ID, which is an invitation mailings that we've sent already to your household. And we do have the option, if you happen, for whatever reason, not to have a census ID, you could also click that link there so that we can begin the process of being able to identify the household in which you wish to have the count for, just in case. This is just in case.
And see the steps: household question, people's question, final question, and it's finished. 4 steps, bam, bam. Sometimes it's just 3. Raymond, any other closing comment?
That's it. Just thank you very much for doing this. If you can help us out with our social media weekend this weekend, please feel free to share hashtag 2020. Challenge your friends to complete the census, fill it out yourself, and put a badge up on your picture. Whatever you can do to help us out and spread the message, that'd be great. So thank you so much for doing this and giving us an opportunity to talk with you again.
Right. And Raymond, give us some of the stuff that the social media slogan and stuff, hashtag that people
Yeah,
can
so
share.
hashtag 2020 census is the big one. And really, we just want to get the message out that the census is safe, easy, and important. You can go to 2020census.gov and find different badges you can put on your profile that says I completed my census, or I challenge you to complete the census. There you can make one of those pictures where your picture is still your picture, but it says 2020 census around it. There's a lot of things we can do. We have a toolkit on 2020census.gov where you can find all that. Retweet, you might see some politicians and government leaders and nonprofits in the community tweeting about it this weekend. Give them a retweet, give them a follow. Really, we just want the message to kind of storm Twitter and Facebook over the next couple days. We want to make it like it is Census Day all over again. So as much as you can do on social media to help us out, that'd be great.
Spread the good news about the census on social media this weekend.
I know, and all my Facebook viewer, I know you guys looking at this stream. Come on, let's be creative. Show that you completed, show something great, Let's get creative. Let's encourage everyone to take the census. Very, very important, this census. I know we are in this pandemic, but let's get it done. Let's remind some people. And for those who is a bit hesitant, what we can say to them, Gilbert or Raymond? Because some people is still hesitant. I mean, we've been doing a reach out on social media. Some people said no. So, some people are a bit hesitant. What we can say to them?
This is for your benefit, right? We're living the results of the 2010 census today, okay? And we will be living the results of the 2020 census for the next 10 years until we do this again in 2030, okay? This is a process, this is an endeavor that affects us every day of our lives, whether you want to believe it or not. This information, this count information, this enumeration that we're doing. Why? Again, it affects your political representation, your voice at the federal, state, and local level, even down to school districts. It affects the services, public assistance, in the forms of infrastructure, like roads, like public transportation, your highways, your public safety, your public health, you name it, one way or the other. Whether or not, even if you don't receive public assistance through the forms of, Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps, and things of that nature, but the roads that you utilize, the school infrastructure, you name it, directly, indirectly, the census count that we do every 10 years has some kind of effect, one way or the other. So this is for you and for your benefit. Right? If you have anything to add.
Yeah, just the example that our regional director, Jeff Baylor, uses all the time is you have a school of 100 people, 100 students, but only 80 of those students were counted in the 2020 census. But 100 kids are still going to be going to that school. That means that school is 80% funded for the next 10 years if the class size doesn't go up at all in the next 10 years. So that's something that we really want to get the message across, that it really is important to include everybody, to count everybody. Make sure you include children on the form. But really, at the end of the day, the resources go to really all parts of our life, whether they're seen or unseen. And it's really important that we get this right so our communities have the fairest shot at making the next decade a success.
Great. So guys, let's get those numbers up. We want to see at least by June, 80% response. 80% response.
That would be beautiful.
So let's push. I said again, some of you guys might have forgotten, or some people said they haven't received it yet, but we showed you how to do it. Call in by those numbers that we showed you, or go online, 2020census.gov or my 2020census.gov, and fill it out. Remind your friends. If you know someone else in another state, which is family member, reach out to them too. Find out if they have completed it. If they're in another city in Massachusetts, reach out to them and let them know. It's important. It's very easy. It's just, and I know you guys do it. When you go on shopping, you go to shop, you guys buying your Amazon stuff, all of those stuff. Very easy. It's just to go on, click, boom, boom, boom. That's it. Safe. They ain't asking you for your bank account or want to know your business. None at all. We got to know how many people in our district so that we can get that money. We don't want to lose no more money. No more money losing. Let's get it done, guys. I want to say special thanks to Gilbert and Ray. As usual, you guys are amazing. We're so happy that we're partnering with you and helping our community. It's important people like us, our foundation, continue to provide support for our community, especially those with disability. That's another question I want to ask too, with regards to disability community. How can we help them in getting them complete the census, Gilbert? Any?
If you know how to reach out to them, right? Highlighting the importance of filling out the census and why it's important to them when it comes to things of like resource funding for their services, right? That's needed. Again, we're depending on you, our partners, to be able to reach out to those who are affected by disabilities and whatnot, to make them aware that this is important to you too. You're not left out. Everybody's included. Whether you have papers, whether you don't have papers, whether you have a disability, whether you don't have a disability. If you're breathing, this affects you. From the newborn, right, to the more mature family member, right, in your household, much more mature family members. This is about you, the people, and getting yourself counted so that you get your fair share at multiple levels. US Census 2020, 10 minutes it takes for you to fill it out for the next 10 years of your life. Simple as that.
Great. So guys, it's 2020 census. I know we're in COVID. We want to say, be strong. We supporting you during this crisis, but also it's our responsibility to complete the census. And I want to give all condolences to the loved ones who have lost their family in COVID-19. If you're experiencing, depression, down and out, be positive. We know we're going to pull through. So very, very important. So please, we're reaching out to you, complete the census, because there's a light at the future on the horizon. Better days are ahead. And we know if we do not complete this census, we're going to short ourselves with money for our community. I see someone has a hand up. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, this is Paul. I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't mean to put my hand up. I was trying to get the gallery view.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm glad to be able to join you guys.
Good.
I'm in Montgomery County.
Okay, great. So have you completed the census?
Of course, yeah. I'm a partnership specialist here in Montgomery County, and oh yeah, I'm all over that one.
Excellent. So we're so happy that you join us, and we've been just showing people how each community is doing the response rate so that people see how the response is going in terms of the state of Massachusetts broken down by city. And we're so glad to have you guys on the call also. Any words for anyone?
Pleasure joining.
Thank you. So once again, 2020 census, it's here. You're not going to hide from it. Let's just do it. We don't want nobody coming at our door later on down in the fall. Definitely not. So get it done.
I'm sorry, were you talking to me?
No, just in general. Thanks. So Raymond, last word. Gilbert, last word before we close.
Yeah, just want to say thank you again for having us. Remember, it's safe, easy, and important. And this is gonna decide how the next 10 years goes. We want to make sure our communities have the appropriate funding and support for our communities that we can get. And we can, again, do something to help our communities out by just filling out the census online, by phone or on paper, without even leaving the safety of your home. So thank you very much again for the opportunity.
I share Ray's sentiment. Thank you for having us again. Be able to talk to the community that you serve. Remember once more, U.S. Census 2020, 10 minutes to fill it out for the next 10 years of your life. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's go, Massachusetts. Massachusetts strong, Caribbean strong, community strong. Let's get it done. This weekend is social media weekend for census. So let's see all your posts. Show me some of your posts doing something to support census. You know, let's get it done, guys. We count. Everyone counts. Get the census done. Very, very important. And we're so glad that you continue to watch us on Facebook Live. And as we say, we're the voice of the Caribbean community here in Massachusetts. And we're so glad. Any question, any comments, reach out to us. Our website, www.authenticcaribbeanfoundation.org. And don't forget the census website, 2020census.gov. Reach out any information that you need. Have a blessed weekend. Be strong. Stay safe. Wear those masks. Distance, social distancing. We're going to pull through. Have a good one. Thank you for joining us. Take care.
Thank you, Andrew.
You're welcome.
You.
Bye-bye.